This is how it is going to go. We are going to have 7 days straight where we have picks that you can make with your chance to be BetTV's Betting Extraordinaire for a chance to win $25,000. If you get the first 3 questions right over the course of 3 days, you're going to win $250. If you get to day 5, you're going to win $2,500. And if you get through day 7, a week straight of correct picks, we're going to give you $25,000. No joke.
That's right. It's Friday. It's day 3 of Who Wants to Be Betting Extraordinaire, and all 4 contestants from yesterday are through to the $250 round and that much closer to $25,000. I am Preston Johnson, hosting here in the Bets TV studios in Southern California, hanging with Taquan Young, co-hosting, producing, answering the contestant calls. Look, we have a huge slate of NBA. We got weekend NFL, but we left the show, last word Cheetah, last hour, with the Army-Navy game. I still like it. I enjoy it. I usually watch it. Give something a little bit unique for them to sweat, because you have a total in a college football world that's like 34.5, 35. Don't see that very often, but you got 2 option teams going against each other, familiarity, etc. And a pretty high spread for this matchup. Generally, it's not 7 points. So we're going to be doing some alt lines in the Army-Navy game as the setup for this question. We always do more or less a favorite day 1, small underdog day 2. Day 3, you got to go a little bit harder. There's 4 of you, though. At least 1 should be getting through. Quan, if you want, go ahead and put up the question, and we can get it rolling. It's about 7 points on all the sides. So Navy either has to win this outright. Army has to cover by 13.5, win by 14 plus. Under 27.5. Or over 41.5. It hurts. They're all painful. I'll leave it at that. There's no way Army's winning by 2 TDs plus, right? Or 42 plus in this game. Like, of course not. But under 27.5 is pretty low. That's like 17-10 or better.
The worst game. I would put these fictional kids that people talk about, I would put my fictional kids in front of the television and make them watch this as punishment.
Punishment? Like, you really hate this game. You said it at the end of the show that you just never.
Oh my goodness,
man!
There's nothing good about triple option football. Name me one good thing about triple option football.
I'll tell you.
I'm listening.
You know what's coming. The defenses are familiar with it. They see it in practice a lot. Whatever it may be, it's the same and similar scheme. It's option. Who is better at executing when you actually know what's coming? It's similar to, we knew the Pats were running the ball every time against the Bills, and the Bills still couldn't stop it very consistently. There's like something to
that game stuff.
You know what's coming, and you still have to see who executes better. There's going to be 1 or 2 teams or 1 or 2 plays that swing it all.
Pressing that game
pride, American pride. I don't know.
There you go. God bless America.
That's my best guess. I don't know. I just enjoy it. Plus, it's a short game. You don't have to watch it for 4.5 hours, 10 plus TDs in the game. I'll stand by it. I'll have some fun watching it. Who's up first? Who is the first to call in?
You got to punish your kids and make them watch it. We got Christian in Tennessee.
Okay, Christian. What is up? How are you doing? Good work yesterday. Pretty easy for you. This one will be a lot harder.
Appreciate it.
So if you want me to repeat the question, I will real quick. But it's Army-Navy. You got to pick Navy either to win the game outright, Army to win and cover 13.5, under 27.5, or over 41.5. They're all about 2-1 dogs, maybe a little bit higher, depending on how you price it, which is unique just because it's such a low total, and it's tough to price this stuff anyways as far as these alt lines go.
All right. I have no lean on this. This is where I start to go with my own personal narratives. I play with someone that went to Navy, played on the team for a little bit, so I'm just going to go Navy money line.
There you go. Little homer pick. I don't hate it. In my head, I'd feel better about betting Navy money line in this rivalry than I would laying Army to win by 14 plus. Math-wise, 14 plus is supposed to be, I think, slightly better. So it's interesting. But also can't trust that math as well, I think, on this, because totals in 34.5, 35 just don't come very frequently. So, anyways, we'll lock it in for Navy. Good luck. Hope you enjoy the game. We'll talk to you later.
Sounds good.
Sorry, I was thirsty. Who's up next?
Nobody. We're waiting.
Nobody. All right, we'll end it there. We'll see what happens. Save me $750.
Evan, Paul, and Vic B. There's a chance Vic B. I feel like Vic B is going to be a forgetful caller. We got Evan up.
Evan, what is going on, man? You ready to play?
I am ready, Preston.
All right. You got the question, Navy, Army. You got to pick an alt line. What are you looking at?
I'm going to lay the 13.5 with Army.
Okay. Any reasoning why?
I already bet Army earlier in the week, so I'm just going to have to ride with them to beat them by more.
There is one Army spot at Caesars, it looks like. That's 6.5. It's 7 everywhere else. But 13.5, you're looking at maybe like a 21-7 finals, like close to maybe 24-10. But that's about what he's hoping for. Could happen. You never know. All right, man. I wish you luck. Enjoy your weekend.
Thanks, guys. Have a great one.
Quan can't get over how ugly this is going to be.
21-7. Ew.
One thing that I wanted to look at one point, when these option teams play each other, I'm pretty sure they score more frequently in the first quarter. And then it comes to a halt
Defense.
pretty frequently. Like the defense adjusts to maybe exactly how their cadence on the snaps are, but they like know the plays that are coming. But I've just noticed it's like always like 7-7 for some reason, like pretty quickly. And then it slows down. So maybe an in-game under is worth a look. It was just a thought I had. I've never actually dug in and proved it or anything, but in my head, I feel like that happened earlier this year in an Air Force game. Anyways, who's up?
We got Paul.
Paul? Cool. Paul, welcome back. Good job last night. It is day 3. Chance at $250. It's about a 2-to-1 shot here on any of these. What are you looking at? Navy, Army?
Well, I was thinking about using my one of my lifelines, and I was going to ask for an opinion. It seems like you were leaning towards Navy money line. Is that correct or not?
I won't make you use a lifeline. I'll be honest. What I was saying is in my head, I feel more comfortable just on the surface betting Navy to win this rivalry game as a 7-point dog. Look, 7-point dogs win all the time outright. Like it happens. The math says Army minus 13.5 is better. My math that, again, for a total this low, I'm not as confident in, but generally I think it's going to be slightly better to bet Army. So if you really made me bet one with my own money, I would trust the math and I would just go with B. The totals, the over 41.5, I think I had also slightly better than under 27.5. But it's hard to bet totals in two option teams going up against each other in the 40s. So it's kind of a psychology meets math question because in my head, under a Navy, I think sound better. Math makes the other ones actually a little bit better.
Yeah, I bet Navy plus 7.5 earlier this week, and
nice.
I don't know. I think they're playing better. Later in the season. So I don't know. I'm kind of talking myself into going Navy money line. I think that they, like I said, they're playing better, and this is their bowl game right here. I know there are not many upsets in the game. I don't think historically, but I guess that doesn't matter tomorrow. But I'm gonna go Navy money line, I believe.
Okay, we will lock it in. Cannot blame you at all. Good luck this weekend. Enjoy it.
All right, thanks. Have a good night.
Yep, see ya.
We're waiting on Big B.
So I got his daughter's playing
He's probably,
softball tonight.
Working. I think normally
volleyball,
on Friday,
basketball.
He's working, isn't he? I think we had this happen once before where he was working.
Oh, he had to did he text us right after or something?
Discord, and I couldn't remember his Discord name.
This does sound familiar. And it was also, I think, a day 3 where he actually had some money on the line. It's a free shot at $250.
All points
more.
bulletin out for Vic B.
You got any plans for tonight, Quan?
We got kickball. We got smoked last week.
You kind of have stopped talking about it, so I'm guessing it hasn't been going very well.
Last week was the first.
Oh, it was the first week.
Yeah.
Okay.
We got
Were you pitching?
Listen, funniest story ever. So we lost like most of our original team, and we're playing with a bunch of kind of like the people that came on from the last team.
Oh, you combined kind of, yeah.
One of the girls became the captains, and we were it was like 2-2 up until the third, and I'm pitching and we get a bunch of pop-ups that we can't catch. So the shortstop at the end of the game, I think we lost like 7-2 or 8-2 or something like that. They asked the shortstop, "Hey, did you have fun? Will we see you next week?" And he was like, I don't know. I played on a bunch of teams that haven't won a game, so I don't really want to do it again.
Just like that.
So I'm looking at him. I'm like, yeah, I get where you're coming from. So she's like, oh, come on, man. It's just the first game. We played the team that won the championship last week, but we should have at least competed. But he literally looked at her and was like,
is he pretty good? Like, do you need him?
I mean, he was okay. Like, there was a ground ball that normally I get all like the bunts that come in front of home plate. He ran up from shortstop and kicked it
to first.
Yeah, and no, it didn't get to. He tried to kick it to first, but he kicked it to the backstop.
It's hard to accurately kick it to first base.
So I took a deep breath and I just thought to myself,
what did you think to yourself?
What the fuck?
There you go.
Could have got that. But yeah, so tonight I probably won't pitch because I want to see chaos and I want to see what he's gonna do.
It's kind of a funny thought. Imagine being the pitcher, like, oh, lay down a bunt. I got this. Seeing some guy swoop in and just kick it over. Like, what in the world? And then the guy afterwards, like, I think I'm out. This team isn't very good.
Not me. So
that's pretty good.
Yeah, I got a kickball and then I got to come back and I got my thesis. I got to finish within the next week.
Quan comes in today to the studio. Are we still waiting for Vic B, by the way? Okay. He comes in. He says, I got more done on my thesis project it's like a film editing something or other. I don't even know the exact specifics, but he said in 2 days, the last 2 days than the last 2 years.
Crazy.
So I was like, do you feel good about that? Like, that's got to be positive. He's like, nope, means I probably should have finished this a long time
ago. Procrastinate. I thrive under pressure and I need a shot clock.
Unless it's kickball championship.
Listen, I can't. Listen, I see why LeBron left Cleveland because you can't win a championship when people are trying to kick it to first.
So, interestingly enough, it brings up the question of, this reminds me most of me in college. I was very, very much the same. Whatever the paper was that was due, I waited until I literally would have been like 0% to finish. A lot of times that meant the night before.
Yeah.
To do it.
2 hours.
I don't know why I would prefer to just.
Because you don't care.
I actually, it seems so stupid now that I'm looking back on it. If I had a paper due the next day and you're given like 2 or 3 weeks to do it, almost always like after dinner until I just wouldn't sleep and I'd turn it in, then I'd sleep all day the next day.
You don't care what goes into your paper when you have no time.
That's
to
true.
Think about it.
That's true. You're just like, well, it has to be there. It has to be that.
It makes sense to me right now.
And then you're like, the grade's probably not going to be much different whether I spend a lot of time prepping or not. Maybe a half of a grade or something. Depends on how good of a BSer you are. Like, it just seemed the most efficient at the time. Yeah. Although for a night, you're like not sleeping and it seems bad. I also was the king of. Have I told you this before?
No, I don't.
I would sometimes like 4 a.m. would hit and I was like, oh, I have to sleep. I got to finish it tomorrow, but it's like due tomorrow. I was the king of emailing it to the professor and forgetting to attach it.
I might have pulled that one.
Like, they can't do anything. Yeah. It's like, no, I sent it in. They're like, oh, by the time they grade it, it's like a few days later.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, I just was going to grade the paper, realized you didn't have it attached. And I'd be like, oh crap, really? Here. And I sent it within like 10 minutes and like, oh, I guess he must have had it. But I had like an extra 72 hours. Sometimes it would backfire, like if it was a Friday and they actually are grading it later that night, but it would at least buy me another half a day.
Yeah.
I did that way too much. But
I got two of the funniest stories. Well, actually one funny story, but my thesis paper for, we had like core classes. We didn't do math or anything. We did like core, like it was Catholic college. So it was a bunch of like religion-based English type program.
Okay.
I did that paper a few weeks in advance because it was like 20 pages. And I was like, listen, if I wait to do that the day before, I'm going to hate myself. So I got that one out the way.
That was smart.
We took core 8. I had a professor, Doc White, hardest professor on the whole campus. And like everybody said, oh, you got Doc White? You're in trouble. My first paper, we wrote a paper on, I forgot the name of the book, but the course was China. And it was just about how it was a POV paper. I turned it in, and it was so good that he entered it into a contest.
Without telling you?
No, he told me. Oh. He was like, I was really proud of that paper. I put it in a contest. And I'm thinking to myself,
maybe I should have been doing this more often.
I'm thinking to myself, wow, I really fucking tricked him. It's like.
Did you win anything?
I don't think so. I don't even recall.
He pocketed it if you did.
It was like, man, I'm really good at bullshitting. And then it just turned into me like not doing the work until the last minute. Like every time I skated by the skin of my teeth, it was just more, it felt
so more satisfying. Yeah.
I can't do this early. So that's why this thesis hasn't been done in 2 years.
On the flip side, because we're still waiting for Vic, I'll give him a few more minutes, but otherwise probably have to say RIP. At BYU, the way you took tests was in a testing center. I'm not sure how many colleges do that. In my head, it seems not very common, but you go and you say what test you have to take for which class, whatever, they give it to you, but it's this massive like hall where everyone takes tests, and it can be for any class, any teacher, and you have a window that you can take it, and it's just a Scantron, you put it through, and then as you're walking out, there's a screen, and you see your student ID, and it'll tell you what you got on it just right away. I was also the king of not looking at the screen because I didn't want to have like an awful weekend. I would just never... my last year especially, I was just like, wow, I bombed that, and I would just not even look. Just walk straight through the door while everyone else is like waiting in line to see their grade, and just was like, this will ruin my weekend if I see like 57% on the screen. So I would just like, I'm gonna enjoy my weekend. I'll find out when he updates grades next week how bad it was, depending on how it moved. I was actually pretty bad student once I got to college. I don't know. I got into like a graduate program, so I guess it wasn't that bad, but it just comparatively to just didn't want to work very hard.
No.
Just like, it's just bad. Yeah. Don't recommend, I guess, is the point. But
this is when I kind of figured that I have to apply myself. My first semester, football player, I barely went to class. I was just so tired all the time. We had practice in the morning. I wasn't used to this type of schedule. The two guys that I graduated with, top of the football team, as far as grades and academics, they had one graduated with a 3.9, one graduated with a 3.8. We were in intro to psych. I was a psych major when I started. I wanted to be a psychologist, psychiatrist.
Just like me.
Yeah. Chad Pulver, one of the hardest professors, his first year, one of the hardest professors I've ever encountered. They had a 55% at midterm. They dropped the class immediately. I think the test at midterm, I think it was a 22%.
In the class?
I had probably a 40%.
Okay. But the main.
And then like the midterm was a 22. So.
That's hard because if you're multiple choice, like. You could just guess and get 25%.
If they got a 55, I looked at them. They said, "No, we're dropping the class," and I was like, "You know what? You're right. We should drop the class collectively.
If we all do it,
If we all together."
then it looks bad on the teacher, and the school's going to wonder what's going on here.
Man,
Yeah.
he had so many there were a couple of people that I still talk to after college. Like he got easier, but it was after a lot of talking to.
Got it.
Man.
Yeah. How much would it take you? I guess you are in school still because you're finishing your thesis. I've thought about this a while. It would cost a lot of money for someone to make me go like graduate from school again. I'm definitely not like growing up. It was like you have to get good grades in high school because you have to go to college because you have to get a job. You have to have a steady 9 to 5. I'm never putting that on my kids. I think you're way better off these days not going to college at all. Like you can just find ways to make money in a creative form. Just learn how to code earlier, and you don't even have to go to college to learn that. Like there's just so much opportunity.
Make him be a YouTube star.
And colleges just keep charging more anyway, and you're just in debt.
Job market's terrible. My first master's, it was the last class, and I think I had like an A+, and I had 2 or 3 papers due. And I was like, well, if I don't turn these papers in, what would my grade be? She said about, I think like a B+. I've never like just completely closed everything out. Just like punt it.
Like 3.0 is good enough for me.
Yeah, give me the 3 too. That's fine.
I think Vic's going to lose out here.
I think so too.
Because it's Friday and Quan and I want to go home. And I haven't eaten anything yet today.
There's no chatter in the Discord on what
and I got a headache.
Name is.
Let me just check. I checked my phone earlier on Twitter. Just because I've seen him like tweet at me before in the past. I tried to find his handle. Couldn't.
It's Boyd something, I think. No, not Barbie Digital. I think it's Boyd. It's something with a B. Because he sent, I'm trying to find the song he sent us.
Oh, his jam.
Yeah. But that was a while ago.
I can't get it. Oh wait, I get like what are they called? The DMs from people I don't follow. I have a message request. That's not him.
Yeah, I say we call it.
All right. Sorry, Vic. Whatever he would have picked would have won. Hope everything's okay, all kidding aside. If he does text me a pick in the next like few minutes, I'll count it. We'll lock it up here. I'll give him a little bit of leniency, but if it's like in 5 hours, if you haven't had that yet, but I feel like I just have to nix it.
I'm going to go just because I have to. Ew, this is ugly. I'll go Army 13.5.
Really?
Yeah.
Just because you remember the Wake game and they were able to score against Wake, so you're thinking
14-0 is the score.
Oh.
Or 17-0. It's going to be ugly.
That's the one that my numbers say are the right side relative to current market prices. So I am with you. We'll both go B Army. Have a few navies, though, out there with the contestants. We'll wrap it there. Vic B, hope everything's okay. Hope there wasn't an incident at the basketball game last night or something. If you DM me or hit up Quan, Discord, Twitter, something in the next, I'll give him a 30-minute post-show window. After that, sorry, brother. But, yeah, we'll wrap it up. Everyone enjoy their weekend. Pick some winners. We will talk Monday in the Bets TV studios. Last Word, Cheetah, and Who Wants to Be Betting Extraordinaire. Hopefully day 4. with some players for a chance to win 25K. We'll be back then. See ya.